Admiral Kim Soo-jin watched the giant alien ships float toward Earth. She pressed her face against the cold glass of the space station window. 3 weeks ago, meeting aliens had seemed amazing. Now it felt like watching her own death approach. The big meeting room went quiet. Ambassador Taeho walked forward. He looked like he was made of crystal and glass. His body caught the light and threw rainbows on the walls. When he spoke, machines translated his words into every language on Earth. People of Earth, his voice boomed from speakers everywhere. We have watched you spread through space. Your kind is dangerous. President Lee Min-ho sat stiff in his chair. Around the table sat the most important people on Earth. Defense Secretary Park Ho-eun kept checking her tablet. Fleet Commander Choi Myung stared at the alien with hard eyes. Intelligence Director Han Ji-woo took notes on everything. The crystal alien continued talking. You built weapons in the Kepler star systems. You broke old agreements. You refused to obey your betters. This cannot continue. Kim felt cold fear in her stomach. Humanity had spent 40 years building homes on other worlds. They had children living under alien stars. They had built cities and farms and dreams among the distant planets. We offer you one chance, the ambassador said. His voice was like breaking ice. Leave all the star systems except your own. Let us watch over you. Become our protected children. You have 30 days to decide. President Lee stood up slowly. His hand shook just a little. What happens if we say no? For the first time, the alien's face changed. Something like anger flashed in his crystal eyes. Then we will force you to obey. You will learn to respect the galactic order, or you will die. The alien's image disappeared. The room stayed quiet for a long time. Everyone stared at the empty screen where the threat had been delivered. Admiral Kim spoke first. Her voice was steady, but her heart was racing. They want us to give up everything. 40 years of work, 40 years of dreams. They want us to crawl, Commander Choi said through gritted teeth. His weathered face was red with anger. Our children live out there, our families, our future. Defense Secretary Park pulled up charts on her computer. The numbers were not good. Their fleet has 800 ships. We have maybe 200 that can fight. Director Han leaned forward. I studied their history. They have done this before. 7 different alien races accepted their protection. Those races don't exist anymore. Not really. They became slaves who forgot they were slaves. President Lee walked to the window. Earth spun below them, blue and white and beautiful. What do our war experts think will happen if we fight? We will lose many people, Admiral Kim said honestly. But we won't lose everything. Our weapons are different from theirs. Our way of fighting is different. They expect enemies to line up and fight fairly. We don't fight fair. We fight to win. What does that mean? Commander Choi smiled grimly. They fight wars like a chess game. We fight wars like a street fight. No rules, no mercy, whatever it takes. The president was quiet for a long time. He watched Earth turn below them. Somewhere down there, children played in parks. Families ate dinner together. People lived and loved and hoped for tomorrow. Finally, he turned back to the others. Start preparing for war. Move all the families away from dangerous places. Get our ships ready. Hide our weapons. Sir, Director Han said carefully, if we start preparing for war, they will know. They will think we are planning to attack them. Good, President Lee said. Let them think whatever they want. We need time to get ready. 3 weeks passed. Quickly, the alien ships moved closer to human space. They arranged themselves in perfect lines, showing off their power. They expected humans to be scared. They expected surrender. Instead, Admiral Kim prepared humanity's answer. The final message came on a Tuesday. Ambassador Taeho appeared on every screen on Earth and every human colony. Behind him floated hundreds of alien warships. This is your Last chance, he said. Our fleet is ready. Surrender now, and we will be merciful. Your colonies will be preserved. Your culture will be remembered. Your people will live. The camera showed ship after ship. Each one was as big as a city. Each one had enough weapons to destroy a planet. The message was clear. Resistance was impossible. You have 6 hours. The ambassador finished. Choose wisely. 6 hours later, President Lee sat at his desk. The Earth flag hung behind him. He looked calm, but his hands were folded tight to hide their shaking. Ambassador Tejo, he said quietly, we have considered your offer. Our answer is simple. He looked directly into the camera. His voice grew stronger. No, we will not surrender our colonies. We will not submit to your rule. We will not abandon our children. If you want our worlds, come and take them. The message ended. Across the galaxy, alien commanders prepared for what they thought would be an easy victory. They had crushed desperate species before. This would be no different. They were wrong. Admiral Kim Soo-jin stared at the glowing map in front of her. 400 alien ships floated at the edge of human space, like angry hornets. They were arranged in neat rows, showing off their power. It was meant to scare humans into giving up. They're not even hiding, said Commander Park Ji-woo. She pointed at the alien formation. Look how perfectly they line up. They want us to see them and be afraid. Captain Byung-ho walked into the room carrying a stack of papers. His face was serious. I have the report from our spies. The Alliance has never really fought a war. Every time they showed up with their big fleet, the other aliens just gave up without fighting. Kim felt a cold smile cross her face. Tell me about their weapons. They have more ships than us. Their shields are better than ours. Their energy weapons can shoot farther than ours can. Byung-ho paused. But they fight like it's a parade. They expect everyone to line up nicely and take turns shooting at each other. On the big screen, Defense Secretary Park Ha-yoon appeared. She was calling from her secret base on the moon. Admiral, we're moving families away from the dangerous planets. 60% are safe now. We're taking them to places where our defenses are strongest. What about our ships? Kim asked. All hidden and ready. Ghost Squadron is hiding near the Vega Star. Wraith Fleet is inside the Centauri Nebula, where sensors can't find them. Phantom Group is floating with the asteroids, looking like space rocks. Park smiled. The aliens think we only have 37 ships that can fight. We really have 215. Intelligence Director Han Ji-woo's voice came through the speakers. It was fuzzy with static. I studied how these aliens think. They expect us to either give up right away, or put up a tiny fight, and then surrender. They think this whole war will take 3 weeks. Kim laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. 3 weeks to conquer humanity. Their last war took 18 days, Han replied. They think they're being generous giving us 3 weeks. The final week passed like a countdown to disaster. Captain Soo-hyun worked day and night moving families to safety. She helped load children and elderly people onto ships that would take them far from the fighting. Meanwhile, Captain Chuan was busy hiding weapons everywhere. She disguised missile launchers as communication towers and hid bombs inside what looked like civilian buildings. Commander Yi Tae had the strangest job of all. He was placing humanity's secret weapons throughout space. These weren't fancy laser guns or energy shields. They were simple, brutal things the aliens would think were primitive. Nuclear bombs that could be steered like rockets. Suicide drones. Chunks of metal that could be thrown at incredible speed. The aliens thought these weapons were too crude to be dangerous. They were wrong. On the last day before the deadline, the aliens sent one final message. Ambassador Tejo appeared on every screen in human space. Behind him, hundreds of massive warships glowed with deadly light. People of Earth, he said, his crystal voice echoing everywhere. This is your final chance. We have brought more ships. Surrender now, and we will be kind. Your colonies will be protected by us. Your culture will be preserved in our museums. Your species will survive under our care. The camera moved to show the full alien fleet. Ship after ship filled the screen. Each one was enormous, bristling with weapons that could destroy cities. The message was clear. Resistance meant death. You have 6 hours to give us your answer, the ambassador said. Choose the path of wisdom. Exactly 6 hours later, President Lee appeared on screens throughout human space. He sat calmly at his desk with the Earth flag behind him. His voice was steady and strong. Ambassador Tejo, we have thought carefully about your kind offer. Our military leaders have studied your fleet. Our people have discussed your terms. We have reached a decision that represents all of humanity. The president paused and looked directly into the camera. When he spoke again, his voice carried the weight of 40 billion humans who refused to kneel. Our answer is no. We will not surrender our colonies that we built with our own hands. We will not bow to your oversight. We will not abandon our children to your protection. If you want our worlds, you will have to fight for every inch of space, every moon, every asteroid. Come and take them if you can. The transmission ended. Across the alien fleet, commanders prepared for what they thought would be a quick battle. They had faced desperate species before. The Korathans had used poison weapons. The Nexari had tried suicide attacks. The Trillions had used tricks and lies. All of them had fallen in days. But none of them had been human. None of them had spent months preparing for total war. None of them had hidden 200 ships, while pretending to have only 30-7. As the alien fleet moved toward the first human colony, automated signals began broadcasting fake distress calls, emergency evacuation requests, medical emergencies, desperate pleas for help. The aliens moved to investigate, thinking they were seeing humans panic and run away. Admiral Kim watched from her hidden command ship near Saturn. They're taking the bait perfectly. Are all our fleets ready? Asked Commander Park. Ghost Squadron reports they're in position. Wraith Fleet is hidden and waiting. All our secret weapons are armed and ready to fire. Kim leaned forward, her eyes hard as steel. Once they commit to attacking, we spring our trap. What if they try to retreat when they realize how ready we are? Kim's smile was cold as space itself. Then we hunt them down anyway. They threatened our families. Some things can never be forgiven. The alien fleet moved through space like a parade of death. 400 ships gleamed silver in the starlight, arranged in perfect rows. Admiral Zhao Huk stood on the bridge of his massive warship Hegemony's Will and smiled. Ahead of him was a small human mining colony on a planet called Kepler-4, for to be. It would be an easy target to destroy first. Our scouts report almost no defenses, said his tactical officer. We can see some civilian ships running away from the planet. Perfect, Admiral Zhao said. When we destroy this colony quickly, the other humans will see how hopeless it is to fight us. But the aliens could not see what was really happening. Captain Dayun floated inside the tiny bridge of a mining ship called Iron Resolve. Her ship looked like it was carrying rocks and metal, or, really, it was packed with 30 nuclear bombs disguised as mining equipment. Around her, 12 brave volunteers checked their controls one last time. The alien fleet is getting close, reported Lieutenant Ari from the navigation station. 6 big warships are leading, with smaller ships behind them. Captain Dayun pressed her communication button. Ghost Squadron, this is Anvil 1. I can see the target. Starting my attack run now. All through the star system, human ships began moving. But they were not running away to safety. They were flying directly toward the alien fleet on collision courses. Admiral Kim watched from her secret command ship hidden behind Saturn's rings. Her hands were clasped tight behind her back. Around her, officers watched dozens of green dots on their screens moving toward red enemy dots. This was the moment that would decide if humanity lived or died. The alien fleet is turning on their energy shields, reported Commander Park. They think we're going to have a normal space battle with laser weapons. Perfect, Kim said with a cold smile. Energy shields can't stop a big chunk of metal moving really fast. The first impact came like thunder in space. Captain Sua's cargo ship had been accelerated to incredible speed. When it hit the alien cruiser Eternal Peace, the enemy's energy shields did nothing. The shields were designed to stop laser beams and energy weapons. They could not stop raw mass and velocity. The alien cruiser disappeared in a flash of vaporized metal and escaping air. Direct hit, shouted Lieutenant Jiwoo. Enemy cruiser destroyed completely. But the real surprise came moments later. Captain Dayun's iron resolve reached the center of the alien formation and exploded. 30 nuclear warheads detonated at once, amplified by the exotic mining materials her ship had been carrying. The blast created a chain reaction that disabled 6 alien vessels and completely destroyed 3 more. Admiral Zhao stared at his tactical display in shock. In less than 5 minutes, his fleet had lost 9 ships to what looked like primitive mining equipment. Impossible, he whispered. What kind of species uses nuclear weapons as battering rams? His answer came from Commander Nari Park's destroyer squadron. The human ships emerged from hiding in the asteroid belt where they had been invisible to alien sensors. But instead of firing energy weapons like the aliens expected, the human ships opened fire with massive railguns that hurled solid metal projectiles at tremendous speed. The alien fleet had trained to fight energy weapons that could be deflected or absorbed by their shields. They had never faced simple chunks of metal moving at significant fractions of light speed. Their shields, their armor, their defensive systems, all were useless against this primitive but effective approach. Captain Sang Choi led the second wave of attacks. His squadron had modified their ships with chemical rocket engines, turning each vessel into a guided missile. As they accelerated toward the alien dreadnoughts, the enemy commanders finally understood what they were facing. They're not trying to defeat us in battle, Admiral Zhao realized with growing horror. They're trying to kill as many of us as possible before they die. The human tactics violated every rule of civilized warfare. No attempts to communicate during battle. No surrender when clearly outgunned. No concern for their own survival. They fought like cornered wild animals, using any weapon they could find. Captain Haiyan Bei emerged from behind the planet's moon with the most devastating surprise yet. Her ship Defiant had been converted into a massive bomb, but instead of regular explosives, it carried humanity's most terrible weapon, an experimental antimatter device that had never been tested at full power. "This is for our children," she broadcast on all radio frequencies, before ramming straight into the alien flagship. The antimatter explosion was so bright it could be seen from 3 star systems away. When the light faded, Admiral Zhao's Will and 4 ships around it had been turned into expanding clouds of hot gas in the aftermath. As the surviving alien ships fled the system in panic, Admiral Kim received the damage reports. Humanity had lost 18 ships and over 300 brave volunteers, but they had destroyed 21 alien vessels and badly damaged a dozen more. More importantly, they had sent a message that would echo throughout the galaxy. Humans did not fight wars like a chess game. They fought wars like a blood feud that would never end. "How many aliens died?" Kim asked. "We estimate 8,000 dead, twice that number wounded," replied Intelligence Director Han. "Their medical facilities are not designed for mass casualties. They have never experienced losses this heavy." "What are they doing now?" "Admiral Zhao is calling for reinforcements. The Alien Council is realizing they made a terrible mistake." Kim nodded grimly. "Good. Let them understand what they started, because this was just our opening move." 3 days after the battle at Kepler, Admiral Kim stood in front of a room full of military leaders. Their faces appeared on glowing screens from all across human space. Every face looked worried. They all knew the aliens would come back with more ships. "Our spies report bad news," said Director Han Ji-woo. "The Alliance is calling back every ship they have from every corner of their territory. We think they will bring 800 ships for the next attack." Defense Secretary Park Ha-yoon leaned closer to her camera. "We did well at Kepler, but we lost too many good people. We can't keep fighting like that or we'll run out of ships and soldiers." "Actually," interrupted Captain Seojin Kim, "we need to fight even harder." The room went quiet. Everyone stared at him. Captain Kim was in charge of the secret spy ships that moved unseen through enemy space. "The aliens still don't understand what kind of enemy we are," he continued. "They think Kepler was just desperate humans fighting because we were trapped. They expect us to ask for peace now that we've shown we can fight." Admiral Kim looked at the star maps floating in front of her. "What do you think we should do? We stop defending and start attacking. If they want a war, we give them a real war. But we take the fighting to their planets." The plan they made in that meeting would have terrified the alien leaders if they had known about it, while the Alliance prepared to attack human colonies again. Captain Minho Jae was leading a secret strike force deep into alien territory. Their target was Crystalla Prime, the homeworld of Ambassador Taeho. They were not going to attack the planet where millions of aliens lived. Humans were not monsters who killed innocent families. Instead, they were going after the massive space factories that built ships for the alien fleet. "Remember," Captain Minho told his squadron over the radio as they approached the alien star system, "we're not here to capture territory. We're here to send a message." The alien defense fleet had spent centuries doing peaceful patrols around their homeworld. They had never fought a real battle. Captain Minho's ships were covered in special materials that made them invisible to enemy sensors. They flew with their engines barely running to avoid detection. The aliens never saw them coming. The attack began when Lieutenant Xian's computer experts broke into the shipyard's electronic systems. Using special computer viruses designed by Earth's Cyber Warfare Division, they shut down the facility's defenses, life support, and communications, all at the same time. Then came the kinetic strikes. Captain Chaeyong's destroyers opened fire with mass drivers that hurled chunks of tungsten metal at the shipyard sections. The alien structures were built to withstand small meteor impacts and radiation from their sun. They crumpled like paper under the human assault. But the real message came when the human fleet targeted the evacuation. Ships carrying civilian workers from the shipyards, not to destroy them, but to protect them and help them escape before continuing the attack. All Alliance vessels, Captain Minho broadcast on every radio frequency. "This is Captain Minho Jae of the United Earth Forces. We are not targeting civilians. All non-military workers have 30 minutes to evacuate safely before we resume our bombardment." The alien commander, Admiral Quelter, could not understand what he was seeing. "They're protecting our civilians while destroying our infrastructure." The human tactics made no sense to alien minds. Savage enough to use nuclear weapons as ramming devices, yet civilized enough to ensure civilian safety. Brutal enough to strike deep into enemy territory, yet disciplined enough to limit their targets to military ones. Within 6 hours, the orbital shipyards around Crystalla Prime had been reduced to floating scrap metal. The shipyards had been the largest military production facility in Alliance space. The human fleet withdrew as suddenly as they had appeared, leaving behind a carefully prepared message. Admiral Kim's face appeared on screens throughout alien space. Her expression was calm, almost like she was having a friendly conversation. "People of the Galactic Alliance. This is Admiral Kim Soo-jin of the United Earth Defense Force. 3 weeks ago, your representatives gave humanity a choice: surrender or face destruction. We declined your generous offer." She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. "You expected us to submit to your will. Instead, you received our defiance. You wanted us to regret our decision. You'll have to dig that regret from the burning wreckage of your fleets. The transmission showed footage of destroyed alien vessels, the ruins at Kepler, the devastation at Crystalla Prime. This is not a border dispute over mining rights. This is not a police action to maintain order. This is total war. You declared it when you threatened our families. We accepted it when we refused to bow. Kim's image returned to the screen. Her voice became hard as steel. To the Alliance Council. Withdraw all military forces from human space immediately. Stop all hostile actions against human colonies. Recognize our right to exist as free people, and we will consider ending this conflict. Her expression grew even colder. Refuse our terms, and we will burn your civilization down to its foundations. Every shipyard, every supply depot, every military base in Alliance space will be destroyed. Your fleets will become floating graveyards. Your admirals will become cautionary tales. Your children will learn to fear the darkness between the stars where humans hunt. The transmission ended with simple words. Humanity has spoken. Choose wisely. The response was immediate chaos. 3 alien species announced they were leaving the Alliance military. They had seen what happened to desperate species before, and they recognized the signs. Humans were not going to lose this war. 6 months after the aliens first threatened Earth, Admiral Kim Soo-jin floated on the bridge of her flagship Indomitable. All around her ship, pieces of destroyed alien vessels drifted like a glittering metal cloud against the stars. 800 enemy ships had come to this place. Now they were nothing but wreckage and memories. The final battle had lasted 18 terrible hours. The Alliance aliens, desperate to end the war before their coalition fell apart completely, had thrown everything they had at Earth itself. They expected to find tired, weakened humans who had been worn down by months of fighting. Instead, they found Captain Harin, Chen, and the Earth's defense grid. When the alien fleet approached Earth's moon, 3,000 hidden weapon platforms suddenly emerged from what looked like civilian buildings and communication towers. Each platform carried enough destructive power to destroy a massive alien warship. What are our final numbers? Kim asked Commander Myung Park, her tactical officer. Alliance losses, their entire pacification fleet destroyed. We estimate 42,000 aliens killed, 18,000 taken prisoner. Our losses, 237 ships, 8,000 of our people. Kim nodded sadly. The numbers told the story of a war that never should have happened. The aliens had better technology, more ships, and centuries of experience conquering other species. But they had never fought an enemy that treated war as a fight for survival instead of a political game. Message coming in from the Alliance Council, reported Communications Officer Bora Lee. The holographic screen showed chaos. The Great Council Chamber, where Ambassador Taeho had once delivered his arrogant ultimatum, now looked like a disaster zone. Desperate alien leaders argued with each other as their 12-species alliance fell apart. Speaker Velther of the Hegemony stepped forward. His proud posture was now bent with defeat. His crystal body looked cracked and dim. Admiral Kim, the Alliance Council formally requests an end to hostilities. An end. Kim's voice was cold as space ice. You mean surrender? We seek terms. Mutual withdrawal from contested systems. Recognition of boundaries. Perhaps reparations for damages caused. No. Kim's single word silenced the entire Alien Council. You gave us an ultimatum 6 months ago. Now I give you one. Remove all Alliance military forces from human space immediately. Formally recognize human sovereignty over all territories we currently control. Dissolve your Alliance military command structure. Speaker Velther, S. Crystalline. Features showed shock and horror. You cannot expect us to dissolve our entire defensive alliance. Your defensive alliance threatened to destroy my species for refusing to submit to your authority. Yes, I expect you to dissolve it. You have 48 hours to comply, or we resume military operations. The transmission ended. Within hours, the Alliance began breaking apart, like a house of cards in a windstorm. The Korthon delegation announced they were negotiating separate peace terms with humanity. The Nexari recalled all their ships to defend their home systems. The Trillions simply vanished, their fleets disappearing into the deep darkness of space. By the end of the week, only 4 species remained in the Alliance. By the end of the month, none did. President Lee Minho addressed the galaxy from the rebuilt orbital station above Earth. Behind him, the blue marble of humanity's homeworld served as a beautiful backdrop for his historic speech. People of the galaxy, he began, 6 months ago, the Galactic Alliance demanded our submission. They wanted us to abandon our colonies, surrender our independence, and accept the status of a protected primitive species under their control. He paused, looking directly into the camera with steady eyes. We declined their kind offer. In the war that followed, we learned much about ourselves and about our galactic neighbors. We learned that freedom is not something that is given as a gift. It must be taken by force. We learned that independence must be defended at any cost, and we learned that humanity will never again bow to alien oversight. The president's expression became gentler, but we also learned that war teaches terrible lessons. The Alliance has been dissolved. Thousands are dead on both sides. Entire star systems lie in ruins. This was not our choice, but it became our responsibility to finish what others started. The camera pulled back to show Admiral Kim and other military leaders standing behind the president. Starting immediately, the United Earth government extends an offer of alliance to any species seeking mutual defense agreements and fair trade relationships. Not submission to our will, true alliance between equals. Not oversight of your affairs, genuine partnership. Captain Suhayan Choi, now commander of the 1st Colonial Fleet, stepped forward. To the former Alliance species, your governments threatened us with extinction. Many of you have children living in colony worlds, just as we do. Those children deserve to grow up in peace. We offer that peace, not as conquerors demanding tribute, but as equals seeking friendship. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Within days, diplomatic missions arrived from 17 different alien species. They came not to surrender, but to negotiate as equals. The age of imposed galactic order was over forever. 3 years later, Admiral Kim stood once again on the bridge of the Indomitable. But now, it served as flagship for the Terran Confederation Navy. Around her, ships from 12 different species, including several former Alliance members, patrolled the trade routes connecting 47 star systems in peace. The galaxy had learned that humanity's freedom was not negotiable. More importantly, it had learned to respect the small blue world that dared to say no when faced with impossible odds.